Hello everybody, welcome back, and do your best to ignore the giant pile of clothes right behind me, or the fact that my hair obviously looks like it's been trapped in a ponytail all day. Also ignore those empty boxes. I'm only keeping them because I know I'm gonna have to move once this lease is up because of the baby. Otherwise they would be gone. So I know I've tried to do these with and without a script, and neither way has really worked for me, but I did come up with a neat new idea that I think is going to help with the format of these vlogs at least. Because I'm just so all over the place, I can't stick to one subject for very long, and even with a script, when I'm writing, I do the same thing. So that script is then bouncing from subject to subject and is all over the place, just like when I'm... So instead of an actual script, I thought I would start trying to do more like a web kind of thing. So I tried it for a year, and it's basically just, a really quick, I don't know if you can really see, but like a map on a piece of paper, just kind of with the main topics that I want to cover in this vlog, and then little branching topics, just so that I can stick to the same subject, get it all out of the way, and then move on to something else. Something I did forget to mention yesterday, which I thought was pretty neat, was that I started taking Korean lessons again. I'm not sure if I actually mentioned that one or not, but that's another way these webs will help. I can go back and look to see if it's a subject I've already covered. For those of you who don't know, I did spend 2 or 3 years in my teens. I know technically I'm still 18, but it was a couple years ago, and I did spend quite some time taking Korean, and we even had a guy come from Korea and trade Korean lessons for me for English lessons from my aunt. His name was Han, who's a really cool dude, and I really wish I could get some sort of private tutor like that again. I'm not actually taking any sort of class or anything. What I'm doing is I'm doing Rosetta Stone through my public library. It's not the best. Rosetta Stone is not my favorite program just because it doesn't use my learning styles that well. I mean, yes, I'm auditory, so it helps with that stuff, but a lot of what it teaches in the beginning is stuff that nobody in whatever given country for which the language you're learning is actually uses. I think that's true of just about any Rosetta Stone course. The basics are super formal, super proper, or super old-fashioned, and they aren't really things that you're going to be using once you actually move to or visit a country. As of today, I've been practicing for 3 days though, so that's really neat, and for now at least, I'm actually super motivated to keep it going. I'm not sure why, and I get these little bursts of motivation often, and unfortunately they often fade very quickly. But, I mean, I might as well while I have it. So, I kind of have a funny story from yesterday. Me being technically under, like, a pagan category as far as my faith goes makes the holiday season really interesting. And by holiday season, I mean all year, because there are things like Easter on the other end as well. During a shift yesterday, one of my friends at work overheard a conversation that 2 apparently very religious customers were having, and she didn't hear the whole thing, but it was something along the lines of one was trying to offer the other one a gift, and the other one didn't really want to take it because she doesn't celebrate any holidays, and her friend was like, "What, you don't celebrate anything?" And the lady was apparently like, "No, I don't celebrate any of these holidays. They're all pagan and they just have orgies and stuff," or something like that. And it was like, wow, that is just so far out there and not even something I have ever heard before. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, that was just too unexpected for me to be any sort of offended. On one hand, it might not be totally inaccurate because I know there are some groups who do participate in sexual group activities and rituals and things like that. So it's not to say that it doesn't happen, but that is a subgroup. Those are a specific people with a specific set of beliefs and not the entire tradition of a holiday. But on the other hand, you usually have people saying that, oh no, all of this symbolism is Christian and has nothing to do with paganism, so I guess it could be worse. I think what a lot of people don't really understand about things like Christmas and Easter is that those are still Christian holidays because that's what they've been made into, formed into, and what they have become. Because of the separate names and the separate ideas to the symbolism that the church has given them, those holidays are not pagan holidays. They simply have roots in older history. A lot of these symbols and a lot of these lores are not just based on like dark pagan themes. A lot of them are actually just based on old European legends and things like that, and I think the world would benefit from a bit more cultural education when it comes to holidays. Speaking of holidays, I am having my second annual Yule party on the solstice, which is the Twins Day. The 21st, which is a Wednesday, that's where that came from. Basically what I do is, because last year I had an actual house and a bit more freedom, I could actually have like a group of people over. So I had some friends over and did a big dinner. There were chickens and chili was the main idea. I roasted some chickens in the oven and I made like a batch of slow-cooked homemade chili from scratch, which was actually pretty good. This year I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm leaning towards the ham side of things, and the only reason I wouldn't want to do that is because A, personally I'm not a huge fan of ham, just depending on how it's done, and I'm not sure I could do it in a way that I would like it that much. And two, because I did just do pork roast for Samhain, and there's nothing wrong with having the same kind of meat 2 holidays in a row. It's just, I want to be able to branch out, if that makes sense. If I was rich, I would probably do something like goose. I have never eaten a goose, and I know it's definitely a more traditional Christmas bird, with turkey being the cheap alternative, but I'll probably stick with ham. So my question for anybody who sees this is, what sides go with ham? I'm not used to eating ham, I'm not used to making ham, and I cannot for the life of me think of a side I could make for it. And of course I'm not just gonna serve her meat, because I'm not gonna have enough people here. At most there will be me, my boyfriend, my dad, and my brother, and that will be the most here at any given time. And I know my dad and my brother can't pitch in for food at all, so it's pretty much on me. Of course my boyfriend's going to help, but it's kind of more my thing than his, because he still does the whole Christmas thing with his family a few days later, and is kind of trying to balance back and forth between my things and their things. I believe that is all. I'm going to try my best to make the next thing I post on Saturday, so I'll see you later.